All right, mic check 1 2 1 2. This is you know what? Let me just say podcast. I'm your host Ray, and with me to my left is Faddah.
Hello, how's everybody?
Right now it's just the two of us, but if anybody else comes, they come. So it don't matter. Anyway, so what do you want to start at? You want to start at Bill Cosby or Kanye?
Let's start with Bill Cosby.
All right, so I guess if anybody has been living under a rock, Bill Cosby has been considered guilty, or charged guilty, and is going to serve at least 30 years in prison or something like that.
Yeah.
Each charge was up to like 10 years up to prison and all that. What do you think about that? What?
I mean, like, I'm like mixed, cause I'm like, if he should go to jail if he did do it, but at the same time, like, the trial, like, as you know, the trials were very like foo-foo.
Right.
The trials were very foo-foo. Like,
Right.
there was, first of all, there was a woman that admitted that she lied for a book,
Janice Dickinson.
like, documented
Right.
under oath, said that she lied. So that was like, okay, so who else is lying? Since she's the one that came out, there must be more. Because how many women is that? Like, more than 50?
Yeah, about 50, 60.
And like y'all just all of a sudden y'all just all pop up when the man is like old as hell and done made his money and done lived his life. I don't know. Something is just fishy about this. And I'm not even trying to say this to like discredit like, you know, what he did or nothing, because like it's like I said, if he did it, then you know he should. And there was that time where he admitted that he did like he did want to drug somebody or some shit. So fine. So convict him for that, right? But this whole like the whole 60 thing, and you know, like now the Me Too movement starting to like get in there and stuff. It's messy right now. I just think the whole thing is messy. I think it's starting to look like a setup. At first, I didn't think it was a setup, but now it's starting to look like a setup to me, because he was trying to buy NBC,
Right.
he was trying to buy NBC. And you know how them white folks are, especially them white folks at the top.
Not Bill Cosby.
Not Bill Cosby. They did the same shit with Michael Jackson. That man was trying to buy a Sony.
He had 50%.
He had 50%.
Yeah.
So if Michael Jackson had Sony, bruh.
That's what I was trying to tell people. Michael Jackson could get Sony, then Bill Cosby, he could have got NBC if he wanted to.
If he wanted to. He probably was going to get it.
He probably was going to get it. I think my problem is the people that they had up there, especially some of the women, they were like they was like lawyers that like failed the bar and all that other stuff, or just old actresses trying to get into the game and all that other stuff. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if he did it or not, because we weren't there.
Yeah.
But I think my problem with it is that obviously, A, the statutes of limitations is really bullshit. Mm-hmm. And B, we're judging what Bill Cosby did in the 70s by the laws that we have right now. And I feel like that's sort of unfair, because if anybody knows, like 70s was the 60s and the 70s, that's a real trippy area.
Trippy.
There's a lot of experimenting, a lot of drug uses.
A lot of the shit that we considered like sexual harassment was normal. Back then.
Yeah, it was normal back then. Now I know there was like one was like recent, and then that was like what's the name? Andrea Constant. Even that one was kind of fishy. But it's just that like the people they had up there, you knew that you could look at some of them, you could tell some of them was like drug addicts and just people trying to get in the game. And then even Janice Dickinson, when she lied, I was like, yo, they should be squashed.
Yeah.
All that should be squashed. But I feel like you, it was a setup. I think, and you know what's funny? Your boy Tariq Nasheed was like, they freed Meek Mill just so they could get Bill Cosby.
Well, I was like, so about that, like, I see where he's coming from,
mm-hmm.
but at the same time, it was a reach, because, like, because I mean, Bill Cosby and Meek Mill, they do both come from Philly.
Right.
So when Meek Mill got released, I understood when Tariq was like, they only released Tariq. I mean, they only released Meek, and you know, like all these people are all happy and shit. But just like last month, you know, no one said nothing about Meek.
Right.
Now all of a sudden he's released, and now all of a sudden Bill Cosby is guilty.
See,
Like, okay, like I can kind of see where you're coming from, but you know, like that link, like it's a link. Don't get me wrong, but like, to go further than that is a bit of a reach.
yeah, I agree. But I'm not gonna lie. If we like on Meek for a little bit, him getting released was kind of weird too. Like the owner of the Patriots was coming to visit him, and I was like, of all teams, the owner of the Patriots that got just played in the Super Bowl, and that Philly just played in the Super Bowl and beat. And it's like, why wasn't Philly's owner? If it was like Philly's owner, I'd understand. And it's like everybody was just like trying to come to his side, but it was just like, if anybody outside of, like, who except for the people outside of hip hop knew about his situation and who was trying to help him out?
Nobody.
So that's, I think it's a reach too, but at the same time it's just like
He does have a point.
And it's just, and if I may quote Eddie Griffin, I think he said black men don't really go out the game clean.
They don't.
So
They're always gonna try and find something.
yeah. So let me ask you this, because a lot of women, they like, glad to see that he's like going to jail, getting what he deserved, and all that other stuff. Does that like, I don't think I've met a woman except for my little sister that kind of like sides with Bill Cosby, really.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of people just jumping on, oh yeah, he did it. It's like without really no evidence. It's just, so how do you feel about that?
You know, it's like, it's a real interesting period with like the Me Too and like the Time's Up movement and shit. So I can kind of see why that narrative is being pushed, especially when you have like loudmouths that like drive the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
But see, is interesting because these are the same women 10 years ago. Like, if you ask how they felt about Bill Cosby, he's my hero. He's the one. I love the what was it, A Different World?
I love the Cosby Show.
Yeah, I love the Cosby Show.
A Different World.
Yeah, like a lot of people looked up to Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, these allegations come out, and without knowing like the full detail, because I don't even know the full details.
Right.
I don't think there's a lot of people that don't know the full details of what really went down.
Right.
All of a sudden, it's just a bum rush of women just.
Even Constant, Andrea Constant, he wasn't even on trial for rape for that one.
Yeah.
That was just, he grabbed the breasts, and I guess he was like, I don't think that was going to garner him 10 years. So, as you were saying?
Like, I don't. It's just the women that are like happy to see him go. I feel like it's symbolic. I just feel like it's symbolic. Because all those accusations, then he's getting guilty. That's like, oh, okay. Like, if we pursue other people, we can do it. Because now, what's interesting is, after Bill Cosby got convicted, now they're going for R. Kelly, who's been known. Ain't no allegations or nothing. This man had a video of him peeing on a little girl.
Right.
It's been known. There's little girls, like, there's women now that came up and was exposing this dude for years. And now, all of a sudden, we muting R. Kelly. It's trending right now. Mute R. Kelly.
I saw that too.
I'm
I was
like,
he. First of all, I don't know what they're gonna do. He already beat the case.
You already beat the case.
So like
y'all already dropped the ball on R. Kelly.
Yeah, the case was dismissed. If y'all wouldn't have done that, y'all would have done that when I was like a little kid. So
like he's been out here.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Bill Cosby, who is like near his deathbed, is going to prison for shit that he may or may not have done, all because he wanted to get NBC. Something's fishy about this, and I think that like a lot of women that support it. I'm not saying like you're wrong, but like look at that case again. Just look at that whole thing and see how much you can piece together. Because I promise you, you're gonna be as confused as everyone else.
Oh yeah. I would say it like this: rape is bad. Let's just start off.
Yeah.
You and I, rape is bad. All right, ain't nothing good about rape. None of us will say that. Now, here's the thing that I don't know if people are going to agree with me, disagree with me or not. No one is more scared of rape than men.
Right.
Because
Especially black men.
especially black men, because I know back then if you like even had sex with a white woman and their father catch you, they're going to yell rape. It's happened to a couple people. We've seen it. I've heard many stories about women just lying on men about rape. Matter of fact, at this school, Akila,
Yeah.
yeah, she made up a rape, and that dude he almost had his life fucked up.
Yeah.
So I say this to all women because I think a lot of women think we don't take rape seriously. I said we take it more. In my opinion, we take it more seriously than women because once you get labeled a rapist,
That's not going away.
that is not going away at
That
all.
is not going. Even if you are acquitted, because dude who made Birth of a Nation,
Nate Parker.
is making a movie about Nat Turner,
Mhm.
right? About the slave revolt.
Yeah.
That is history a lot of people didn't know about.
Right.
Like if you watch that Breakfast Club interview, there was someone said they had no idea about. I think it was Angela Yee.
Mhm.
I think she said she had no idea that went down. And Charlamagne's like, yeah, I knew about that, but like a whole bunch of people didn't know about it. It was like, oh, where? I'm gonna check this out. Remember that whole like black feminist movement that was like boycott this movie because he's like, he was charged with rape or whatever. And it's like that was a case he beat in like 1999. He was acquitted.
Yeah.
Like,
And they was calling him Rape Parker. They was
Yeah.
like, don't go see this
and
movie.
I'm like, bruh, like, first of all, he was acquitted. How many black men you know acquitted?
I know. There's a lot of black men don't beat. Mike Tyson didn't beat a rape charge.
Mike Tyson didn't beat a rape charge. Like, Mr. Carl turned himself in
Yeah.
for a rape charge. So, how many like black men do you know beat a rape charge? Like, first of all, and Nate Parker been like told the
Yeah.
truth about that. He been out. Now that wasn't even used when I heard about it. I was like, he said this before.
That's what I was too.
Yeah, he's like, so like, what's the point of all this? Is it because he's just a black man? Like we gotta check ourselves, and it's real interesting because there was another thread on Twitter that I read, about Issa Rae. I told you about this.
Mhm.
Apparently, Issa Rae on her book said that black women should get with Asian men because they're both disrespecting minorities but they're intellectually compatible with each other. I read that as satire because I know Issa Rae. Like if you know Issa Rae, you watch her series and shit. Like satire is her shit.
Yeah.
But when that shit came out and there was a whole bunch of Negroes just like, oh my God, she bed wenching. And I'm like, bro, no, she not. This is satire. It's obviously satire. You can tell by the damn tone of the language that she's using in the damn book that it's satire. But then that gave the chance for like black women to really just lay it on them and tell them how they really feel. It's like, oh, here go these niggas again. Black man ain't shit. Black man can't do shit. Like all that energy. And
Yeah.
it's like this is real interesting because this is really bringing out the true feelings. It's like really, and I'm like, as you know, black men and black women, we divided as hell.
I've always said there's
We
been a
are-
disconnection between black men and black women for some years. And, like, even when I made, my thing is I always try to, like, talk to black. I was like, I want to know what is the disconnection? What is it that you like? What is it about black men that you hate? That way we can at least come to a meeting. I feel like that's never getting pushed aside. I feel like we're just yelling at each other and not listening to
That's
each other.
the same shit I tweeted. I was like, black men and black women have a disconnect. It's just too bad both people are stubborn to even listen to each other. Like both of y'all stubborn as hell, and y'all just yelling. Like obviously, and I think blame shifts on both sides because of course it's black men that that like shit on black women all the time. Like
Yeah.
obviously we check the fuck out of those niggas.
We do.
But then there's black women that are like, oh, black men can't do shit. There's black women that pin babies on black men just to get checks.
Mm-hmm.
Like both sides, like if you really look at it, both sides ain't shit.
Right.
Both sides are not shit. And like this, and black women, a lot of black women that like to play victim, but don't have like the upbringing of being a victim. You know, like, bruh, stop that. Because black women who are actually victims, they get looked at a certain way when you do that shit. So like, actually stop that shit. But it's just like that whole mentality, plus with like the whole and Parker thing was talking about, and just this whole like Time's Up, Me Too movement. It like it's like this one big ass, confusing ass conglomerate of like feminism and man bashing and just a whole bunch of like it's like a whole bunch of confused women. You know, it's like a whole bunch of like it's like there's women that know what they want, but then there's like women that is like, hey, I'm down because you know female empowerment, but what else? Like that's the kind of vibe I'm.
It's funny you say that because the black woman that I can't remember her name that did the Me Too movement, that started the Me Too movement, which by the way, it was a good cause when it started.
I supported it,
and I also support it. She said, I remember I read somewhere like she wanted to restart it or at least take it back because it got to a point where it's just confused. Like you said, it's just confusing.
And I don't think the whole point of that movie was to man bash, but that's what it became. Yeah. It became like a man bashing party.
Yeah. And it's like, and I do say this, us as men, we do gotta listen to our women when if they feel discriminated. It's like, you should at least say how. I said something, and then try to figure out a way to fix it. I'm like, anytime when like my sister is mad, I was like, what's wrong? And it's like, sometimes she'll come at me like I'm trying to like chastise her. I said, no. I said, I tell you, just calm down. I just want to know what's wrong. And how can I say this? I think what's stating on my point that we take it serious because we don't want one. If it really happened, we're sorry. Yeah. But if it didn't happen, I don't want to be labeled as a rapist. I want to, cause like it's gonna fuck up my career. You could call me a rapist and nothing can happen to you if I did nothing. But if I'm gonna be called a rapist, people gonna look at me funny. Like, did he really do it? Even though I've been acquitted. Because even like when Kobe Bryant won his fucking Oscar, yeah, they brought up the rape charge. I was like,
he beat that.
He beat that. And how can I say this? Why do you think that people? Why do you think that people do that? I don't understand.
Like falsely accused rape?
Not falsely accused. I wouldn't say not falsely accused rape. Like know that they beat the charge, but they still like try to give him that label as a rapist.
I don't know. That's always interesting to me. It's like you know he beat the case, but you're still bringing it up. It's like what is the agenda? Is this? I feel like it just all boils down to like man bashing. You know how they talk about toxic masculinity? Mm-hmm. Well, there's toxic man bashing. I feel like there's women who just straight up hate men, and they just do.
I think didn't you show me a tweet about? It was a woman who said, "I don't get like if a man is accused of rape and he didn't do it, I don't give a damn." Yeah, it was something along that. It's just I think those women like that was fucking up the movement because if I'm innocent, I should be innocent. But I think I know one thing. Like when you hear a rape charge, I think you're automatically going to take sides. Like I'm not gonna lie. When I heard about this Bill Cosby rape shit, I took Bill Cosby's side. I was like, them women are lying. I said, I think I naturally take the man's side because I've seen a lot of men get accused of rape. And I think women take the side of the victim, the rape victim. Is like, especially if that person's been raped before. And I think that's where, I feel like that's where the fight is because I think as men, it's like, wait till we get the evidence.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. I'm not saying that he ain't do it.
Yeah, we're not saying he do it. I said I would like to see evidence, and that's what all men were saying about Bill Cosby. Yeah. I just want to see the evidence. I was like, where is? It's like, oh, they was taking Quaaludes. I was like, if you knew the '70s, everybody was taking Quaaludes.
Everybody.
It's like the couple of women he like gave it to. He said, I asked the women if you want the Quaaludes, and they be like, down with it.
It's funny because some of the women that was also asked that question said they took it like knowing that knowing the situation. They knew.
Right.
Like they knew, even if they consented to the sex or not, they still took that drug.
Right.
So it's like so then once you take that drug, the lines do become blurry.
Right.
Because even if you don't consent, you were still under the influence of a drug. So it's like, okay, it's like it gets confusing, and plus you're trying to really recollect from a case that's 40 years old.
Yeah. And some of them, it was just like, you didn't rape him. He was like, he brushed up on me and all that other stuff and all that. So, I guess this is also a thousand wrong with it. Because let's say, like, I think you've heard this, a male and a woman, they both get drunk. They have sex together. And you know how some of it is like, it's still rape. Like, even though they both was considering, it's still kind of considered rape against the man. How you feel about that?
So they're both drunk, they both have sex, but none of them verbally consented to it. They just kind of did it.
See, that's the thing about consent. Yeah, because I guess they was talking about consent, but they're both was inebriated to a point. So I guess if you did have sex, you did consent. It's something like that.
Yeah, but I think that's where the line gets blurred too, because they feel like, oh, I ain't verbally say it, so I ain't consent, and it's like, but your actions said otherwise. Because if you didn't want it, even if you drunk, if you don't want it, then you would like leave, or you would like try to go somewhere. Now, if a man was trying to force himself on you, obviously people can see that shit.
Yeah.
Obviously, if both of y'all are drunk and you don't want it, but the drunk guy does, we can see, oh shit, like, bruh. But if y'all both did it, but like you come around and say, oh, but I never consented, I'm like, it's too late for that. It's kind of too late for that because the action's already done.
Right.
Like you can't go back and say I never consented because you still did it. That would be a contradiction. So if I said, like if I'm high and, I ate some crackers, but I wasn't hungry, does that mean that I ain't ate the crackers? I wasn't supposed to eat the crackers?
Right.
It's like, and I know that's probably a weak comparison compared to like this serious ass topic, but
I mean, because let's take that, because even if we say, like, why was you up there at 2:00 in the night? It's like, oh, you victim blaming, and it's like, well, to me, it's like, should you blame the victim? I was like, because life, to me, is like, life is all about choices. You chose to get drunk. You chose to be at his house. And you know how most of the old people saying, you ever heard this saying, ain't nothing open at 2:00 other than fast food and legs.
Yeah.
All right. Like, because I used to hear that from a lot of old heads. Ain't nothing, like, things like, ain't nothing open at 2:00 besides fast food and legs, a dry person and a wet pussy don't mix. Freaks come out at night and all that other stuff. So, there's a lot of warnings that the old head used to teach the younger people. It was like, don't do that, or don't go to, and like, they'll tell you don't go down Main Street because there's a lot of drug dealers and killers over there. It's like, do you feel like there should be, even in a rape case, because we're not saying you deserve to get raped, but I've also always said this, I don't blame you for the rape, but you are accountable for your actions of what you're doing.
I see what you're trying to say, but like to an emotional person, that's not gonna fly, because the whole you're a victim blaming thing. I feel like that's literally a emotional response. And us men, we're like logical thinkers.
Right.
We like to think of things with logic. That's why we're like, well, how was you there at 2 a.m. in the morning? Like, like at 2 a.m. obviously, like that's late. I mean, if y'all both drunk at 2 a.m. in the morning, well, I mean, what else? What else are y'all supposed to do? Sleep? Like, obviously he's gonna want something. Now, if you don't want anything at that point, then you shouldn't have drunk so much, or you should have just left.
Or at least in this point where you like tell him, I don't want to have sex.
Yeah.
Which I feel like that's responsible. You told him verbally, no, I don't want to have sex. Now, if he continues to try to pursue it, then that's like rape. You don't deserve that. I always said that. But do you think we're gonna get to a point where men might have to ask, "Can I have sex with you?" Because I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to get to that point. I would like you to verbally tell me no, but I also feel like if the feeling is there, and we both like, because body language is key. I always said that. Body language. If both y'all feeling it, y'all going to do it. But I feel like I don't want to ask you if can I have sex with you, because I feel like that'll ruin the mood. But if you tell me no, I will stop.
And that's all right. So this is like, I told you he was gonna come. But so there's popular belief that men can't read body language. Like, we just can't read that shit. Like, if a woman says no with her body, we just won't be able to pick it up. And for some men, that's very true. Yeah. Like, we've seen it. A lot of men fucking can't read body. You've seen the ones we're talking about.
Yeah.
So the men, I feel like the men that can't read body language, you just like, I feel like you just need to. Verbally is good, but like if you doing the whole body language shit and he's not picking up on it, that should be a sign.
Yeah.
That like
you shouldn't fuck with him.
Or women, y'all have an intuition. Y'all know if a dude's trying to smash. Like, I've seen y'all from the tone of a nigga's voice, you'll know if he's trying to smash or not.
Right.
Even if he says hey, and you're like no, you know. So there's a lot of women that are like, it might not be that bad. Let me just keep going and see what happens. And then all of a sudden, dude gets or let me give you another example. You know those females that will like initiate sex with the dude, and then all of a sudden be like, I don't feel like it, when the dude's like ready to go. Yeah. And he's like still trying, and then at that point, women do say that is rape because she said no, but he's like, man, once we're Once we're up, we're up. Once we're up, we're up. So it's like a lot of men, they weren't taught that, like, especially in this society, they weren't taught like, oh, if she says no when she don't feel like it, stop. We there's a lot of dudes that was not taught that. I'll do you one even further. There is a very popular belief in African custom that if the man is horny, the woman is supposed to give him sex whether she wants to or not. Like, that is a very common custom in an African household. So, and that's kind of toxic if you think about it, because the woman has to give herself up in order to please her man. And that makes the man look like, oh, I don't give a fuck. All I care about is my nut. And like, in a way, I feel like a lot of men have grown up with that. If I'm horny, and it's just subtly, like, as a child. Yeah. Like, boys are literally brought up saying the world is yours, basically, just off the little cartoons and shit. Like, kids see that and they internalize that. So like, by the time they get older, they have this, oh, I'm a man and I get what I want simply because I'm a man, especially when it comes to women. So that whole mentality right there is why a lot of women get in these like shitty, fucked up situations that they get put in. But it's like you said, there is some form of accountability in the woman. We just don't want to bring that up because it's a very touchy subject, Right. Obviously, men don't like hearing about women getting raped. I know when I hear about a woman getting raped, like, my heart goes out to her. Right. Like, I want to help her out, like, in like the most helpful way possible. But at the very same time, date rape, you know what I mean? Like, date rape and like all those other situational shit that happens, there has to be a context put in. I can't just, like, obviously I'm going to empathize for the victim,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to see like I'm not saying that I'm supporting the rapist, or I'm not saying that the victim is wrong. I'm like, what happened? That's the question. What happened?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like,
Um, what up, Phil? We was talking about the Bill Cosby situation. You want to give your 2 cents on it?
Whatever he did, he did it. It's like, I don't know. That's really weird to me. Because, seeing, what is it, Eddie Griffin?
Mm-hmm.
He mentioned one time, like, back in the 70s, 80s, you can go somewhere and, like, drugs were lined up when you got there.
Right.
And I'm sure all the women weren't white. I'm sure they probably mixed demographic. But the thing about white, I know some people say he had money, but I'm also thinking, popular black man to take down right there with a white woman, he was gone down even if he didn't do it. Now, don't get me wrong, that's not me defending him. There's just things that just don't add up. Now, I also heard he made jokes about it back in the day.
You talking about the Spanish fly thing?
That's what they call it. I never heard a joke.
Look up Bill Cosby, him talking about Spanish fly. That's the joke.
But why wait till he in his 80s? Well, I'm not gonna say why wait, because I know some women don't want to ever speak about it. I know a girl who was attempted and she didn't want to speak about it. I mean, it was only an attempt because she wasn't going out; she was fighting back, and she still didn't want to talk about it, even though it didn't happen.
Okay. So how you feel about women that doesn't come forward, even if that happens to you? Even if that like happens to them, you can tell they don't come forward until like, let's say like 10, 20 years later. How you feel about women that do that?
There's nothing against them, and I get it, because it's a trauma, and sometimes speaking on trauma is hard.
Mm-hmm.
I know people who, there's people who have a hard time dealing with it at all. One of my, a sailor I met in the military, she spoke on how like, her rapist got off because therefore there wasn't enough evidence. But even talking about it today sometimes hurts her about it. Like, she was talking about the time she was in therapy for it.
Mm-hmm.
And the therapist made her write it out and speak it. But she said she couldn't write one word for like 40 minutes. Then when she was able to write one word, it took her longer to write more. Then when she had to read it, it took her like 20 minutes just to try to read the first couple sentences. So I'm sure it's PTSD on another level. And sometimes, no matter what happened, even if the man is completely wrong, there's going to be victim blaming. If people don't want to go through that. So I understand that, We live in a world where right now, men, if you're a man, it's almost good for you in a way.
good?
Huh?
You said good?
No, I said in a world where it's almost geared for a man.
Oh, geared.
Geared. Like, and sometimes we don't see our own man privilege.
There's a lot of like, it's like I said, there's a lot of like man bashing now. Like, I understand that, I understand the conversation. Like, there's definitely a conversation going on that should be handled by both, like, men and women.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still a lot of women that's just straight up man bashing.
You got to remember with any movement, whether it's Black Lives Matter, or feminists, any of that, there's always going to be the extreme. Conservatives, liberals, there's always going to be an extreme, and those are the ones who hear the most because they're the most vocal.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it seems like there's a lot of man bashing. I mean, because that's probably what you see, because that's the most vocal. But I just say, the word is geared, because it's just other things I noticed, like being in the military was another thing. We had one girl in there. Now, being close friends with this girl, I knew she was gay.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of the work center didn't. And every time she was seen with gunning or somebody of a higher rank, we had two girls at our work center like that.
Mm-hmm.
They were accused of sleeping with people to get what they want, and that wasn't the case. And that's just, You've been in the military, right? You know
Yeah.
how it is for women.
Yeah, the white people, they think as soon as you get like an EP or something like that, they think, she gonna suck this dick.
Shoot, Nam, rank. I mean, of course, there's a few where it actually happens, but it's just sad that nobody can do anything nobody can do anything without it being affirmative action or they did something down and dirty to get it. There's anything. But speaking of the rape victims that don't want to come forward, I get it, and it's a hard trauma to get through.
But that's why the Me Too movement is like popping because it gives women that voice.
Yeah, Me Too, and I just read an article about the creator, which is a black woman. I can't remember her name. Said she wants the Me Too to get back to what it's about. It's not about toppling these males. It's about helping the victims be able to speak on it and get through it.
And which, because a lot of men was backing Me Too too. It was like, if something happened to you, tell us. There was a lot of men that was backing that shit too, wholeheartedly. It was a lot of men funded that shit too.
Yeah.
So
they say every woman out here, every woman you met has probably had at least one case of sexual assault or something.
I agree. I could
They
agree
say
with
almost.
I could also agree with that.
that. I could agree with that.
I remember being in the military again, and I met a sailor. She said some stuff that was very she thought was normal, but and me just being curious, it's this is not normal, girl. Talking about sleeping with some kids that shit were barely even on this earth for long, 7, 8 years. I'm like, girl, something's wrong with you. She didn't want to believe it. She thought it was normal. She kept calling it. Come found out when she was 10, her 23-year-old cousin took her virginity.
Damn.
No, she was actually molested.
Yeah, she was actually molested. See,
And-
those are the women that the men want to fight for her.
Yeah, and she was conditioned to think it's normal. And now I think about it, I didn't want to deal with it at the time, but now that I think about it, I should have did something to get that girl help because she really thought it was normal. She was saying some things that's just what is wrong with you? That's basically my answer sometimes, and she responded back like I was the weird one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so having 5 sisters, 3 aunts, all that. Yeah, I can see why people want to back it. What I can't stand is the dudes out here talking about one of those women, she ugly. I mean, I've seen dudes have sex with ugly chicks all the time voluntarily, so that means nothing. So, I don't know, that's the dumbest thing ever. Them dudes are like, oh, she too ugly for somebody to... It has nothing to do about attraction and that. Some dudes just want power.
I was about to say, so you think it's about power and not attraction?
In some cases, I feel like that's an up and up. It can be either one probably, but...
I feel like they're synonymous a little bit.
I just think it differs with whoever, because
if a dude fuck a ugly girl, he only in his mind he probably I'm gonna give you this dick because ain't no one gonna give you this dick, and that means I have power over you, kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it is all different, but there is an underlying tone to certain situations.
I guess we can end it there, and I guess we could talk about Kanye West now, since
Kanye West.
You call him Kanye.
Oh Lord.
Now,
Kanye.
Faddah, you are been vocal to me that you never liked Kanye West from the beginning.
Never through the wide. Never been a fan of Kanye.
Never been a fan. I'm a big Kanye fan, even with all the dumb stuff he's been saying and him being a Trump supporter. And for the record, before during the Life of Pablo tour, before Trump even got president, he was backing Trump.
He was.
So a lot of people,
surprising to me.
yeah. So a lot of people that's just finding out he's a Trump supporter. It's he's always, but how do you feel about the way, I wouldn't say Kanye, but the way people feel about Kanye?
The way people feel about Kanye. Well, obviously, like, to a lot of people, it's a shock. Like, what are you doing? Wait a minute. It's like, bro, this is the same man that compares himself to Jesus. Like, he calls himself Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, so I knew that boy off. I like, ever since I could remember, I just knew something was off about that man. Ever since I could remember. Like, you know, yeah. For a time, there was a lot of people, like, they looked up to this man, and this man was fighting for, like, black issues and shit. But I was like, something is wrong with this man. I don't know what it is, but I feel like something off about him. And, like, especially listening to his music and the way, like, he would deliver his lines and stuff, I can see why people love him, because when it comes to music, he is, like, one of the greatest of our generation. Like, when it just comes to music. But him as, like, a person... And, like, the messages that he be trying to deliver, I'm like, something is wrong with this man. Even before his mother died. Because I'm sure his mother dying really pushed him further. Like, something was always off to me about him. But, like, I never really said anything. I just, like, oh, if you like Kanye, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel, I have a few songs that where he was featured in. Or, like, you'll never see me, like, straight up bumping a Kanye song just because his sound isn't catered towards me personally. But this whole, like, oh my God, Kanye, what are you doing? I used to love you. You're going to the dark side. It's like, stop. Like, just look at this man's past, like, interviews, his appearances. You remember that whole rant where he was like, oh, I'm a run for president in 2020 or whatever? Yeah. It's like, come on, bruh. Like, he's been always pushing the lines about, like, certain issues and shit. He's always said controversial shit. So now, like, him supporting Trump, it did not surprise me one bit. I'm like, you would be a fucking Trump supporter.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Do you think Kanye West panders to white people?
Panders to white people?
Okay, because... I like I said, I've always said I'm here for the rants. We're like, he've always, like, to me, but I think anybody that's a Kanye fan know he kind of panders to white people. Even before Donald Trump, he was talking about Polo Ralph Lauren. He was talking about, I think he's the reason why people was wearing, like, these Ralph Laurens, these Versace's, and these Gucci's. I know, like, even before then, a couple of them wore Versace, Gucci, but none of them was camping it this hard as Kanye. And even, like, when he was trying to get into the fashion business, he would complain about there was no, like, black person in these leading fashion areas where people was like, why don't you just make your own? Like how Sway said, it was like, before he said you ain't got the answers, he was like, I had my own clothing line. He was like, and he discarded it as, but that ain't Ralph. So I've always thought he's kind of always pandering to white people. And then you saw that video where, I don't know what fashion designer it was, but he had his hand out and he was feeding them grapes, and that's what it was. And I was like, and that's when I knew, because I always had a feeling, but that's when I knew he like panders to white people. So how you feel about that?
Damn, like Kanye just. When it comes to pandering to white people, I guess I could kind of understand because that man gotta make his bread, you know. But at the same time, at the expense of your own people, like, you know what I mean? It just seemed like, because I feel like you can pander to white people, but not forsake your own people. But I feel like that's what Kanye's doing. He's pandering to white people and he's forsaking his own people. I feel like, because he used to have very uplifting messages. You remember, you know how many people consider The College Dropout as, like, the album that changed people's lives.
Right.
Like, bruh, like, listening to your album, like, changed my life. There's very few artists that get that. Eminem's a person's, Eminem saved my life. Jay-Z saved my life. Like, Kanye's, like, one of those people that people can say, oh, shit, like, that man's music saved my life. But now this new, not even new, I'm not even going to say new, but, like, this direction that he's, like, going, it's like at this point, are you leaving Kanye West because he disappointed you, or are you leaving Kanye West because you just don't want to see if he can evolve from that? Because I think there is a time that Kanye West will change mentalities and shit, and not pander to white people and be pro-black again. But by that time, I feel like it's gonna be too late. I feel like it's gonna be too late for Kanye because, like, I mean, look at all the other people we done canceled.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, are they back now?
No.
Nah. So if Kanye reaches that line, there might be no coming back.
It's funny. It's because even about that, because you like he lost what 9 million followers in a day.
10 million followers.
But I still like. There's people just like I'm not giving up on Kanye.
Yeah.
It's like, so when do you think people will give up on Kanye? Because me, I said if this album drops and I wouldn't say trash, but if this album drops and
it's
it's
the wrong message.
Yeah, and it's very like alt-right. It's like very alt-right-ish, or just like catering to white people.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's when people give up. I know me personally, that's probably when like I'll probably give up on Kanye. You know, I say I'm done. That's probably when I say I'm done with Kanye. So
that'd be the nail in the coffin for me too. That'd be the nail in the coffin for me too.
Yeah. So what about you? Well,
I mean, obviously, I've never backed Kanye.
You never back Kanye.
I will say it will be a devastating loss. I will say that because, as you know, I never liked Kanye, but I never discredited that man's legacy and influence. That man has a legacy and influence that I have to respect, whether I like him or not.
Right.
So if he does, and is very alt-right, and people do give up on him, it would be a huge blow, because like they'll lose one of his voices, a voice I don't agree with, even when he was on that pro-black shit. A voice I never agreed with, but nonetheless, it would still be. I've had friends come up to me and be like, "You don't like Kanye? Like, why?" And I'm like, "Ugh, just never did. You know, you just never." But I don't want to say wait and see, because I feel like it's clear where he's going. I feel like he's done. I just feel like he's done. He can prove me wrong, sure, but that still won't convince me. I think he's done.
How you feel, Philip?
Kanye, love him, hate. I don't even know what to say anymore.
I think
I miss old Kanye.
you missed the old Kanye. I like both Kanyes. It's just, except, you know, the shit he's been like. I don't agree with the shit he's been saying recently, even though he's been saying some uplifting stuff. Like, I'm a big Kanye fan, but I don't follow him. I don't even buy Yeezys.
Which are overly expensive.
Overly expensive and not that really.
Yeah, they're ugly.
They're ugly.
They're ugly.
You know, one of my friends, he feels that some of the designs that Kanye wanted to do would have been all right, but they just too before their time. I don't know. I kind of see what you were saying, but kind of don't. With the fashion thing. But Kanye's in a spot where all the money really comes from, you know, the Jewish white people. So
Right.
Yeah, and his wife.
And his wife actually got him out of debt from an app game. So I know he's in debt to her for like life.
That's why a lot of people started saying he was in the sucking place in the first place. Because them Kardashians, boy, they be catching black bodies. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Tiger done caught it. Lamar Odom done caught it.
Tristan
Thompson caught it.
I think he was trying to get out of it.
Travis Scott caught it. Like, they catching. And it's all black men. Like, Rob Kardashian caught Black China. But Black China just, oh, God. But Black China just,
Keep on. Get back.
God damn. Catching bodies. Fuck. I guess what else is interesting is the Kardashians. Like, they also appropriate culture like a motherfucker too.
yeah.
That little shit that what's her name, Kylie and Kendall did with
Oh,
the
the
little
Biggie.
shirts.
Yeah,
The Biggies.
that.
Ooh,
Ooh, that was disrespectful.
Black Twitter ripped their asses apart. Not on, like, and they was doing some other like sneaky shit too. So it was like they always appropriate culture. Just,
I got in an argument with somebody about them liking anime. I was like, we never heard them liking anime before, but all of a sudden now.
no, if I see Kylie Jenner wearing a Vegeta shirt, I might just pull up and pop her in the mouth.
This one was Kim. I forgot what Kim was doing. Talking about she like, you know, if she would have said something like Sailor Moon, I could believe it. But I forgot what she said.
Oh, it wasn't like one of those like
It was one of the
mainstream.
yeah. I can't remember exactly.
Nah, this is Brandon being loud.
Brandon, that boy wrong. He said something about that girl. He wrong.
Oh, you don't. Yeah. When Brandon don't like nobody, I would tell you this: when Brandon don't like nobody, you don't like him. It's not even. He'll tell you in his face though. When you don't like nobody,
You don't like.
you don't like him.
I can
That's
respect
probably
that.
like to you. It's probably like wow. To us,
No. It's just I don't know. I can't speak because I already don't want to punch somebody in the face. But I'm also about just being casual about it. That's all. Doesn't have to blow up more than that.
like
Okay,
I don't know. I mean, so what time is it?
it's time for you to get a watch, my friend. 8:50.
Oh yeah, I guess we can wrap this up. We can go ahead with the final words, Father. You got any final words?
Hey, so I know y'all still believe in Kanye, but join this train right now because if that motherfucker crash, he crashing along with y'all. So I'm gonna need you to wake the fuck up because I think Kanye gone. You seen that nigga hair now? He got like little white lilies in his hair now. That nigga gone. I mean, he can tell you, I'm not in the sunken place. Look at my friend John Legend. But John Legend, first of all, John Legend too nice. He's a nice guy.
He's probably the nicest guy you ever.
He probably-
Chrissy Teigen even said that.
Yeah, John Legend is the nicest guy ever. So of course he's not gonna give up on you.
Mhm.
And he's not gonna give up on you. But at the same time, it's like he done told your ass, bruh, the path you going right. When a really nice guy like that tells you you fucking up,
Yeah,
I'd listen to him. I'm just saying.
I love John
So-
Legend.
I'm like, before what would be funny?
What?
You know how you know Kanye will be really gone? If John Legend pulled a J. Cole and did a song about Kanye. That's how you know that nigga gone.
Yeah.
Gone. I'm waiting for that song. I'm waiting. John Legend, if you can hear me right now, this is Faddah speaking. You better make that song. Save that boy from his transgressions and make that song. Remind people that man that he used to be. You know me, I don't care. But the path that man is going, he's influential to a lot of people. So even if I don't back him, I still have to back him because for the sake of my people. But I'm just saying that boy is going to crash. So if you want to stay, don't cry. That's all I have to say.
Philip, you got any last words?
And Issa Rae, find the shit. I love you.
That was it.
No, I don't got no last words this time.
I was about to say, you want Devontae Clark me?
Ding! Nah.
I am.
That fuck. Oh man, I want to talk about that sooner or later.
Oh yeah, when him getting arrested.
Him getting arrested and him getting on Don Lemon acting a damn fool.
Oh.
Remind me to have a look.
Oh my gosh.
That is the funniest shit I've
Fuck
seen.
everything.
I was like, you had one job.
Yeah, one job.
Like I said, if I ever die, have the right people
Yeah, yeah,
speak for me.
yeah. Definitely.
Also, I really hope that black men, black women in general, because I'm not MGTOW, men going their own way. I just realized what the fuck that meant.
What is it again?
Men going their own way.
Oh yeah. I saw that.
Yeah, because I'm not MGTOW, and I'm damn sure furthest thing from a feminist, even though I do think women want to
I
see
was
the
called
same.
a male feminist one time.
It's like a male feminist is like a black feminist. It's like it can't really be that.
No, just because it. All that booty on you.
But
Yeah.
anyway, I hope, like, specifically black men and black women, we get to a place where we could just talk to each other. We could figure out our problems. We could solve it and then move forward together.
You know what the problem is?
What do you think the problem is?
Everybody divided, but they still want to be together.
Yeah, I would say that. And
We
but
turn
if we're
their
going to
name.
be together, well, first of all, we got to admit that it's not just one person's fault. It's
No, it's
both our faults. I think,
which I've been trying to say.
which he has been trying to say over and over.
Black men and black women both collectively ain't shit.
Yeah.
Because we both do shit to harm each
It's
other
a
on
yeah,
purpose.
vicious cycle.
Yeah. And I don't want to pass this on. And I'm all about the next generation. I don't want to pass that shit on to my niece that niggas ain't shit. Or, you know, I want her to see good men in her life. And I know if you have daughters or son, you want to show them
I got two nieces
a
right
positive.
now. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
you want to show them a positive male influence and a positive male
Just
role
not my
model.
daughters, my sons too. Got showing them a positive.
Yeah, it's daughters and sons. We got to show them. That way, the next generation can put us in a better spot because this generation is just fucked up.
Yeah, it's way too damn too. Real quick, like that girl on the grapevine that said she cannot just say that men ain't shit because she's had very, very good men in her life. I want those type of women. I want to be like, yeah, like she's right. Not all men. I don't want to say it, and obviously, like you, I know you. You know me. We don't go around saying, well, not all men. Like, nah.
Right.
Like if you want to talk, we will literally hand you the microphone, say whatever the fuck you want. But at the same time, there are facts. We both know that all men ain't shit. We both know that all women are not shit. So like,
You know, I seen a status the other day from a girl that's a feminist on my page. And one time she go, when I say all men is shit, I don't mean all men. I mean my nigga. That's literally what the status said.
oh god,
Yeah.
it's those two.
Okay. Also, any women besides the usual ones that be on this podcast that all of a sudden find this podcast and want to talk, we are open to hear your voice.
Especially me. Talk. I genuinely want to hear.
Because if you feel like no one's listening, we will sit here and listen to you. Trust me, we've done it a couple times.
Oh my god. Shout outs to that very specific person.
Love you, girl.
Yeah, but damn.
But damn.
Yeah, you fucked up.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
All right, this is You Know What? Let me just say podcast, and I'm signing out.